Hello students, this is Science Capsule, a perfect self-learning tool for school children. This channel has started uploading self-learning video contents for class 7 also. Subscribe this channel and press bell icon to watch the latest video very first. Dear children, today we are going to learn the first chapter of your class 7 science, that is nutrition in plants. Before going to learn about this chapter, let us go to class 6th where we have learned about food. So when we talk about food, the first thing that comes to our mind is, why do we eat food? We eat food to get, number one, energy. Why do we need energy? This energy is required to carry out our day-to-day activities. For example, we are talking, we are singing song, we are walking from one place to another, we eat food, we gossip a lot, we play. To do all these activities, energy is required. Where do we get this energy? This energy is obtained from the food what we eat. So food is very important and essential for each and every living organism, whether it is a plant or it is an animal. So we have already learned that food is very important for every individual to get energy. Is the food required only for energy? No children. Firstly, we eat food for energy requirement. Second one, we can say that for growth. Third one, we can say that repair and maintenance of the body parts, right? So in order to get all these things, food is required for all the living organisms, whether it is a plant or it is an animal. Very interesting chapter, right? So this is what we have studied, and we have also studied in class 6th that various components of food. Let us have a small recap on the components of food. Can you recall the components of food? Yes children, you are very correct. The first option would be carbohydrate, right? Second component of food would be fat. Third one would be vitamins. Fourth would be protein, and fifth would be mineral. So these are the 5 components of food that we have already learned in class 6. Now we have also learned that carbohydrate is also known as energy giving food. Why? When carbohydrate is intaken, it provides energy. With this energy only we can do our day-to-day activities, whether it is speaking, walking, listening to anything, or moving off body parts. All these activities could be done with the help of energy. This energy is obtained from carbohydrate, one of the component of the food which we intake. So carbohydrate is used to get energy. And what about other components of food? Here fat, mineral, protein, vitamins are all other components of food which look after the growth, maintenance and other related activities in our body. So all these components of food collectively called as nutrients. Got it children? So nutrients are, these are the 5 major nutrients which are required by each and every living organism. So when we talk about food, the food what we eat must contain all these nutrients. Now with this idea, let us understand what are all the things that we need to study in nutrition in plants. Let us go into the chapter. So we have learned that all the living organisms require food. So food is very important that every organisms require, right? So when we talk about food, then we should have the idea of nutrients. We have got 5 important or vital nutrients required for every living individual, right? All the green plants make their own food. Plants make their own food, whereas animals do not make their food, right? So we have learned that every individual needs to take food. If we talk about plants, they can make their own food, whereas animals do not make their food. Rather, they depend on plants directly or indirectly for food. Here let us understand one more term, that is nutrition. What is this nutrition actually? So before that, let us understand living organisms. Here when we talk about living organisms may be plants or animals. These living organisms require food which contain nutrients. So we can say that nutrients are very important for living organisms that they intake, right? We have already learned about nutrients, right? Now you can see very well that here nutrients and nutrition are somewhat related to one another, right? Let us understand what is nutrition. Dear student, nutrition is the process, we can say it is a process by which nutrients are intaken by the living organisms and it is utilized. Why it is utilized? When the nutrients are utilized, then only the components of the food gets absorbed by the living organisms, and with that they get energy, they can repair and maintain their cells, the organisms can grow. So the process by which the nutrients are intaken by the living organisms and get utilized, collectively we call it as nutrition. So we can define nutrition as a process by which the nutrients are intaken. Here nutrients means food, we can think of nutrient means food. So nutrition can be defined as the process by which the food is intaken by the living organisms and get utilized. When we talk about this nutrition process is different for different organisms. How? Here plants, all the green plants make their own food, this you know, right? So they can make their own food by making use of simple substances. About that we will see in the next section. Here you should understand that all the plants can make their own food. So the mode of nutrition is different for plants, whereas when we talk about animals cannot make their own food. Various animals including human beings, they depend directly or indirectly on plants for food. As we have already studied, nutrition is the process by which the food is intaken by the living organisms and get utilized for energy and other purposes. So in case of plants, we know that all the plants prepare their own food by making use of simple substances, for example carbon dioxide, water, sunlight. So these are very simple substances. By making use of these simple substances, all the green plants can make their own food. So the mode of nutrition or the process by which living organisms make their own food by making use of simple substances such as carbon dioxide, water, sunlight. Such type of or such a mode of nutrition is known as autotrophic. So let us understand this here. Auto means own. Automatically they can prepare their own food with the help of simple substances available in the surroundings or in the atmosphere. And trophic, here tropos means a nourishment, here nourishment. When a living organism makes its own food by making use of simple substances, such type of nutrition process is called autotrophic nutrition, or autotrophic mode of nutrition. And the organisms which come under this category, that is the organisms which prepare their own food, is known as autotrophs. So in autotrophs, all green plants come under autotrophs. On the other hand, there are living organisms which are not capable of making their own food by making use of simple substances, as we have seen carbon dioxide, water and sunlight. Such a type of nutrition process is called heterotrophic. And here hetero means other and tropos means we know that it is nourishment, right? So here you understand this. Hetero means other. So for nutrition process, these organisms depend on other organisms Other organisms means they depend on green plants directly or indirectly. So such a type of nutrition process in which the living organisms do not prepare their own food, but they depend on other organisms for food. So such a type of nutrition is known as heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and the organisms that come under this category are called heterotrophs, that is here heterotrophs. So what kind of organisms come under this heterotrophs? All the non-green plants, all non-green plants and animals come under this category. So all the green plants are autotrophs, which have the capability of making their own food, and all the non-green plants are heterotrophs, which are not capable of preparing their own food. So this is how we can classify the nutrition or mode of nutrition. When we talk about modes of nutrition, there are two different modes of nutrition in plants. One is called autotrophs or autotrophic mode of nutrition, or second one is heterotrophic mode of nutrition.